All right, it looks like we're live.
Mm-hmm. Well, good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Ace, and of course we've got Techie Joe with us. And leading tonight, we're going to be talking about phones.
Good deal, good deal. We're starting there. Yes, we are live. You know what? I'm going to have faith in the systems, and we're going to see if chat shows up on its own.
Cool.
I am. I'm going to be that. I'm going to believe. But yeah, so yeah, phones. Oh, light. Look at that. You got light.
I got light. I moved the camera too a little bit. And he freezes. La la la. We're waiting for him to unfreeze, everyone. It's quite funny. Great ad. So I'm going to pull him down from stream. La 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 la. You gotta love technology.
I didn't do a thing. Yeah.
Now we're still live, darling. Well, we were. Yep. Yep, we are still live. This is still broadcasting. Sorry, guys. It'll just take a moment. Let him catch himself up. Give me a minute.
Let me in.
There you are.
Yay! So as we're talking about wonderful new technology, we've momentarily lost internet. Great.
Momentarily lost internet.
Yeah, but now that is like a great commentary on the, like, before we get into phones for a second, there was a fun story. Well, not fun, it's bad, but interesting story. I was listening to NPR this afternoon because, of course, I had to run out and grab us a toaster because our toaster kicked the bucket, but that's another story.
We'll get to that one.
We'll get there.
You already got done.
But yeah, NPR this afternoon was pointing out that in West Virginia, we have delays in test results because we actually have parts of this county that even though they can test, they are disconnected. Their county health department, major government entity in their area, does not have internet access, cannot do online posting of results. Meanwhile, the DHHR for the state now requires only electronic posting.
Right. So they've got to go to a different county to post.
Stay at home.
Yes.
God.
People are touting, the test results are so low, it doesn't really matter. Let's get back to work.
Yeah.
No, it does matter.
Well, it does. Like this is what they kept trying to explain to you, is if we do this properly, this is what it'll be.
Yeah.
Like this will be the thing. This is not like overhyped.
No.
Like, this is a deadly illness to contract. The thing is, we're doing it right. We're not getting it. Well, so that we think, at least. I'm going with we're doing it right, and I will go ahead and put that in air quotes with right now for the people who are sick. We are not flooding out our emergency rooms with people who can't breathe.
Right.
So if you extrapolate from that statistically, then at this point, what we've done is exactly what we were supposed to do.
Okay.
That even if people aren't getting tested, if they are ending up in the emergency room and they are being admitted to ICU, they will be tested.
Right.
Like, there's no way around that.
Right.
But we're not seeing that kind of surge. So
right.
This is working. Like, we're not at the point in which we're, coin tossing who lives and dies.
Correct. And, when we looked at Wuhan, they were locked down for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Last 2 weeks of it was a total lockdown. That's how they got their numbers down.
Yeah.
We now in the United States because, I don't know, maybe the major fucking dollar.
Yeah.
Have surpassed the world cases.
Yeah.
Surpassed them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and because people are taking it as an infringement on their liberty. And it's like, these are, at this point, what has been done to this point is predominantly a stay-at-home order that's generally unenforced as long as you are not sick.
Right.
Now, if you are sick, they are taking the strongest public health measures possible if you won't listen the first damn time.
Well, I haven't seen them actually do the strongest measures because I don't see any photos or news reports of them padlocking the door from the outside and spray painting a big black X on the door.
But more importantly, they have that power. That's where they are putting their boots down.
But they have had that power,
right? As any other public health
years.
As any other public health emergency,
right?
Mary Mallon wasn't, just having a great time at a seaside resort, at her leisure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar with the name, also known as Typhoid Mary. Right. She had to be forcibly institutionalized because she couldn't listen. And everywhere she went, typhoid went with her. She was an asymptomatic carrier. She could have typhoid, not have any problems. It didn't affect her. She was, biologically immune, but she spread it.
Right. And I'm sorry. This is what the health department is supposed to be doing. That's what they were designed for. They weren't designed to do all the other stupid shit they do. I'm glad to see them actually do their job for once.
Well, with that aside, yes, this is absolutely what they need to be doing. And the level of authority they need to have in this situation. We cannot. But beside the point, ultimately, though, we're now seeing people trying to protest this.
Well, they're protesting every damn thing, and they're just spreading the virus longer, which means the numbers won't go down, which means that, everybody's still everybody that has diabetes, other long-term symptoms, seniors are under basic house arrest.
Yeah, for the longest possible time. And that's assuming that those with those conditions, with the giant list of conditions that create massive health complications, that they're not dead.
Right.
Like, you start getting out of this lockdown, it's like, how many people do you want to kill today?
Right.
That's the game of Russian roulette you're playing.
Right. And it's like, people, some businesses are reopening with, that are non-essential. They're not grocery stores. They're not big box chains that have food resources. They're not, a gas station. And I'm like, are you going to choose it? I want you to count. Every person comes in the door, and every fifth one, question yourself if you want them or not.
Yeah. Well, and even to some extent, I could see, if we did very, very, very cautious, limited business opening. as in some of your secondary services.
Mm-hmm.
That not let's put everyone back in the office and put us all back in 5x5 cubes and 2, 3, 4, 500 people at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But as in like your so to speak, your strip mall spaces, some of your light retail, and do it at very limited numbers. As in, it's a one-man band shop, and you're doing one customer at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That would be the closest I would consider at this point us getting back to normal.
Right.
And that's where we are.
Right.
Is that
most likely I won't be doing any live services at least for 2 more months.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm under house arrest, basically.
Well, and that's basically where you're in conversation with your doctor is that, don't go digging a bunker in the backyard, but please limit what you're doing because you have a number of different health issues.
Yeah.
And none of them go nicely with this.
No, none of them do. So no, I won't be doing live services for about 2 more months at least. And that's if we stay the course. If people start getting stupid like South Carolina, your governor who opened the beaches needs fired.
Yeah.
Now, I don't care for West Virginia's governor. He happens to be like a second or third cousin of mine. Don't really care for him to begin with. I liked it last night that he actually showed his justice temper over nursing homes. I cannot believe that they have not tested nursing home residents.
And at this point, I kind of can. Ultimately, with nursing homes, and you had this experience in working in them.
Yeah.
Is that for-profit nursing homes
Mm-hmm.
are invariably trying to do the most with the least.
Right.
Here's the fewest number of people we could possibly imagine, -1, to work a shift, to take care of this many people.
Mm-hmm.
And a doctor that usually only, is Monday through Friday at best, that is often so far removed from patient care, it's ridiculous.
No, they no longer have in-resident doctors.
No. I mean, that makes a round.
No. They weren't doing that 20 years ago.
Well, my understanding is there was a supervising physician for each nursing home.
It's a supervising nurse. Every patient has their own doctors.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
How much are we spending on outcare?
We're spending a ton on outcare. We're spending a ton on emergency medical transportation. That could be handled by a simple visit. And now, since they've stripped away a lot of the nurses' privileges that I used to enjoy, I used to call Madudoc and say, I wrote this order. You're signing it whenever you decide to make an appearance. Okay, fax it over. Do you know how many times I heard, okay, fax it over when I wrote orders?
Yeah.
Good evening, Sharon, honey. How are you? Sorry, I'm in a mood.
Well, you've been in a mood. And hi, Shannon. But yeah, sorry, I hadn't flipped back over. I had everything all up and ready when we dropped.
Yeah. But no, there is a lot of stuff that goes on in elderly care that has no business in going on. And I'm sure it's only gotten degraded since I left elder care.
Well, and realistically, though, a lot of that is in for-profit systems. Now, non-profit systems that were never built to turn a profit. They were simply cover your costs. Generally, those are staffed a little heavier. Granted, they're still in competition.
We have... Sharon says it's a day for moods. Well,
We
I'm
have
just
two Shannons.
yes, we have two of you guys. Hi. But no.
Now we'll get sued by Jim Henson.
But and it's actually Disney that owns his work now.
Oh crap, we really are going to get sued.
But no, that was one of the big things that we worked on with SEAU 1199 was getting staffing regulations. Because I'm sorry, I'm one of the nurses that used to have one additional aide, and we had 129 patients for a night.
Yeah. No, and it's a challenge for anyone. Senior care is a challenge for anyone. It is especially challenging when you are short-staffed, understaffed, without resources, and effectively abandoned.
Right.
Which in this situation may also be what's happening. Is that there is a possibility that nursing homes are making a choice to keep staff on basically like a snowstorm.
Yeah.
In hopes,
snowstorm. And we called it a day shift snowstorm and not a midnight shift snowstorm.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying though is that, and that may not be an inherently bad idea. Not an inherently bad idea, because the less exposure and contact you can have with different people going in and out of the building,
right,
the better that would be. But that means that those employees are paying a very tremendous price.
Right. But very few nursing homes have gone to emergency status in the state of West Virginia, from my understanding, according to what was said. Very few nursing homes followed the regulations in this state. And that's why we're seeing 1 here, 2 here, whole 20 patients in Boone County. 20 patients.
Well, the ultimate problem being is it only took one.
Right.
And then everything after that.
Yeah, one nursing home had 17 bodies in it.
Yeah.
Not 17 sick. No. 17 bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a massive issue going on there.
Yes.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
But yeah. But this is where we're at.
Right.
And this is part of the problem, is back to normal. Well, they stayed normal. That's what normal looks like. That's the rate of infection at normal.
Right. Yeah.
Granted, that's an elder population. So they're going to bear the worst of it. But that's how easy this spreads.
Right. And that's how quick this spreads. And that's the even harder and worser part of this.
Yes.
So no, I'm not for non-essential businesses opening up or being open or allowed to go back to work. No, it isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Well, and I think we've got to be careful in saying that businesses are non-essential. And I think there are people that are taking that as an insult. That what they do for a living doesn't matter. It's not that what you do for a living doesn't matter. It matters. It can still be important, but not essential.
Right.
Because right now we're focusing on some very basic, literal basics of, food, shelter, medicine, transportation to keep those things moving.
Right.
That's what we're calling essential.
Yeah.
We're like this isn't even basic standard of living.
Yeah.
This is the literal minimum to keep people alive.
Right.
And so no, in that category, there are many, many, many businesses that are not essential.
Right.
as in we're talking about life support businesses.
Right.
Ultimately.
What is
we're not, and then you have basic businesses above that. If you want to think of it in a system, these are foundational life support, life enders if they stop moving.
Right.
People can survive with bad hair. People can survive without a lot of things.
Yes.
It doesn't mean we're thriving. It doesn't mean this is where we want to stay. This doesn't mean where we want to be.
Right.
Just to make that clear, is do not take it as an insult to your business to be deemed non-essential.
Right. And then moving online, like what? You're a small business, but you don't have an online shipping availability? Huh?
And that's been a challenge for West Virginia, is a lot. We still do have a fair number of small businesses, and many have been shut out in a lot of ways of, so to speak, the online revolution. That their businesses are still doing yellow page ads, trying to drive customers. I haven't looked at a yellow page in half a decade.
Right.
If that's where your business exists, I got nothing.
Right. No one's going to find you.
I got nothing.
In today's world, not being online is almost like what? And I see this a lot in pagan businesses. I see this a lot of GBLT businesses. And both of them, I'm like, what planet have you lost yourself from?
Yeah. Now, I haven't seen it as much in LGBT businesses, but then again, that may be because they're not there and I'm not seeing the resource.
Right.
That ultimately you do have to adapt to survive. And if you weren't getting that for your business before, hi.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant, but realistically, like, you're a dinosaur.
Well,
your business doesn't exist online. And when I say that, I don't mean you got to go out and spend $50,000 for hiring a consulting firm to build a website with flash designers and, throw tons of money at it. Facebook. Start with a Facebook page. If you can just get a Facebook page.
Right.
That is a key component. Like, put yourself out there. You are a business. This is the modern equivalent of a business card. This is the modern,
lovely candle shop / bear gear. Like the bear hat that looks like someone's clawed the top of it. The Invisible Assistant has.
Okay.
Yeah, they come to Pride at West Virginia Pride every year. They're out of Kentucky. No online presence. Because believe me, so there'd be a lot more bear gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, to their detriment. It's not that they don't make good stuff.
They make awesome stuff.
But if once a year is the only time you can buy it, then once a year, you got to hope you got money for it.
Right.
And that's a business that it's like, hi, simple Facebook. Like, that's where I'm at this point in time, is simple Facebook. Just create the page. You don't have to put images on it. You don't have to put a bunch of wonderful, glorious content, which will help your business. But a simple, basic website.
Right. Take
one Facebook page.
Take a picture of the item you have for sale. Literally, it can be a crappiest picture ever. Post it on Facebook with, if you're looking for X, here's the email address. Yeah. We can ship it to you.
Yeah. And right now, honestly, there are businesses that, like, that's all it takes. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be great. You just got to be there.
Right.
Show up.
Well, one of the crystal places out in Arizona that I like, all she ever does is she has a poster board that has 10 squares on it.
Mhm.
And she will set crystals on the 10 squares and post it on Facebook. And people order off those 10 squares.
There you go.
1, 2, 3, 4. Across the board. Done.
Yeah. That's it. Like, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
You know, simple, basic components of business. You know, but online.
Yeah.
Because that allows people to find you easier.
Well, not only that, but we found this with the classes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, that online, they move better. Students enjoy them more. They enjoy being able to go back and review them. We found that you know, Earth Magic is doing wonderful things and have been enabling me to do even more wonderful things because, you know, they're like, yeah, we can handle that. But students are loving them a lot more. Most of my stuff, the stuff in the last 10 years, degree-wise, has been done online. Mm-hmm. Students are moving you know, finally the American educational system done something it should have done years ago, which is create an online classroom.
Well, but again, we had a lot of professors and educators, instructors that were resisting.
Right.
And for good reason. This is not an invalid argument. And it gets summed up quickly by a college professor I had. This was a legal environment of business class. I wanted to bring in my laptop to take my notes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to sign some forms to appease her. Because now, granted, this has been a few years. This is almost 20 years ago. But her immediate concern and what other, you know, we kind of got into a conversation about it, is that what a lot of educators were fearing is that if you can capture my content, that's the only thing I have to sell. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have my content, once you have the presentation, once you have, you know, one discussion, there was this fear that that's it. You don't need any more educators.
Mm-hmm.
You have the content, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what was missing in that was that, no, we will still always need that educator.
Mm-hmm.
Because not every class is going to have the exact same questions.
Right.
Not every subject is going to stand the test of time indefinitely.
Right.
And even in the material that you've done in the live streams,
right,
give it a couple of years and people are going to be watching it going, oh my God, this is so old.
Yeah. I'll be redoing it. And
right.
We had that because, you know, I had a test online class called for the tarot when I first was developing the class.
Mm-hmm.
And it has now been removed. But looking back, I was like, oh my God, the videos are so terrible. What the hell did I look like that? Why did I even say that? That's not what my current content matches because we've gone back and updated the class.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens with every class.
Well, and that's part of the education process is that, one, even if it is a very old subject, in engaging with students, you're going to come up with different ways to think about material. You're going to come up with different cultural references. You're going to come up with different concepts. And so that material is not perfectly encapsulable.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just take it and be like, okay, we don't need you anymore.
Right.
Like, you could try it,
right,
but it's not going to work.
Right.
Because eventually that material is going to need to be refreshed. That material is no longer going to be relevant to that audience who doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
Right. You know, and Sharon brings up something saying that outside the current virus, she hates online. So, so many of the younger generations, there are very poor communication skills. Online isn't helping this issue. Being able to hold a face-to-face conversation is dying art. I don't agree with that. I think, if anything, it's bringing out the extroverts. We've seen a massive use of face to face with FaceTime and other things. So there is some things that are different, but 20 years ago, if you stayed more than 15 minutes at a house, you were thought to be a poor conversationalist. 200 years ago, if you showed up before 2 or after 5, you were not looked on favorably. I think that what we're seeing is a shift with conversation.
Well, and I think also generationally, I will say this. There's been a lot of comparison made between like older millennial. Hi, I'm barely barely a millennial. That generationally we had a lot in common with the silent generation, and I find it interesting that when you look at some of those traits, how useful they are in the given situation. Like, we have not had a problem with, avoiding contact necessarily. We like our distance. We are okay with staying home. Many of us have pushed for work from home. And it's not necessarily that we do not enjoy being face to face at all. There's in that millennial concept is a lot of minimalism. Is that we're not into the big lavish party and hanging out all night and going from one to the next to the next to the next to the next to the next. And that's a lot of how constant social interaction ends up feeling, is like that never-ending party circuit. When it's like, no, I want to, be able to close the door and just like shut down for a minute. Like, hi. And some of that, a lot of that has to do with the encroachment of technology, is that we are not disconnected. We are very much in our phones and in our technology. I'll grant you that. Anyone will grant you that. Though, if you look back through history, the same thing happened with the television. The same thing happened with radio. The same thing happened with newspaper. There is a large segment of society that does not want to be face-to-face all the time.
Right.
And are looking for the ability to do what they need to do and engage only as much as they need to. And that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And, extrovert, introvert, whatever you want to call it, I think generationally we have a lot of introverts, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, we keep making this into a bad thing, and it isn't. And what I've generally found throughout at least my life, being, one of, again, old millennial, is that there were a lot of those face-to-face conversations that ended up being time wasters. I've had management that would gladly do a 3-hour meeting for something. It's like, we could have handled this through an email. Why am I sitting here? Like, you're making me stay late tonight because there's this other project you need me to finish, but I'm bombing 3 hours of my day to sit here and, listen about your kids and your other blah, 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 blah. And to be point blank, at some points, it's not that I don't care at all. I don't have 3 hours worth of care right now. Like, let's go bowling, let's go out to dinner, let's meet up next weekend, have a barbecue. That's fine. I'm trying to work. I want to go home. That's where I end up. And I think generationally, that's where a lot of us are ending up.
Well, I think that, and I'm still saying, and I've had some of the best conversations with you. That's actually what sprung this show. But after the 2-hour conversation, I'm done. So are you. We don't
Yeah.
talk to each other for a couple hours normally, unless we were in a heated discussion and Blog Talk was cutting us off. And then, fine, we have to wrap that up, and then we'll come back and figure out why, he's, being a dunce about something.
Hey!
Hey!
I'm not being a dunce.
Really, honey? Let's talk about phones.
Let's talk about you making me watch The Coffee the other day.
Watch the... Oh, yes. He didn't get this. So I had to go out and buy a emergency coffee pot. We are in that cycle of appliances dying. This occurs in my life about every 3 to 5 years.
And he should point out, pause. He should point out, this is not that every 3 to 5 years this coffee pot will die. He means every 3 to 5 years we will kill multiple coffee pots all at once, like it is a holocaust of coffee. And then finally, one of them will survive for 3 to 5 years. Yeah. That's what I learned. I thought when he said that originally, oh, okay, so every 3 to 5 years you're hard on appliances, whatever. Got that. Oh, no. He is not just hard on appliances. He is an occasional small appliance Stalin. Is how this works out.
Well, it's because the problem is, and this is especially the coffee pot. If it lasts a year, it's really a nice coffee pot. It has to be a really nice one.
Shannon, I have no idea how. I wish I knew how. Like you don't understand. We currently have in this house, what are we up to 3 or 4 coffee pots, and only one of them properly works.
We're up to 4, and one of them is properly working. The other one is on life support, but it'll do until Amazon can do my delivery. And
it's not even like normal stuff.
Yeah.
It's like the Keurig broke a needle? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, it broke the needle part.
Yeah. Granted, that one's fixable if we can get that part, but then I'm sitting here going $40 for the stupid little cylinder that drops in. Really?
Yeah.
Like, God.
So anyway, I went and bought a new Mr. Coffee coffee pot. Now, for anybody that knows Mr. Coffee, they know that they have a habit of not shutting off. Like, they will keep perking and perking and perking and perking and perking and perking and perking to where there is no water.
Well, that's the pad at the bottom, the hot plate.
No, the water pump.
What?
Yeah, it has they are known, the older ones would not shut off. You could literally just keep pouring water in, and it would perk.
I've never run into that, but then again, I typically am like the first one to be like, coffee's done.
Right.
Like, I'll throw it back in the microwave. I'm cool with that.
Right. Secondly, that urn had never been, in my opinion, actually tested to see if the burner would cause it to shatter.
Oh, I can tell you that those will shatter without auto shut-off.
Yes, they will. It's normally about 3.5 hours as well. Coffee pots, so we're supposed to turn off in 2 hours. So I'm brewing the first pot of coffee in the new coffee pot. Mm-hmm. And I have to go do something. So I told him, stay there and watch the coffee pot. Make sure it shuts off and make sure that the urn doesn't explode as soon as the element hits the heat. He didn't get this. These are problems millennials have. We don't understand that. I don't trust appliances.
I'm cool with you don't trust the coffee maker, but what had happened was, because you ain't telling the story right.
All right. You tell it right.
There was something in the car, or no, was it the mail? It was the mail. And it's been raining, and I walk around in house shoes, and I was getting ready to do the bolt out the door, go grab the mail in my house shoes, because my neighbors don't care. Our neighbors don't care. I'm clothed. At least our neighbors are happy. That's all they require. And even then, they're a little, but anyway, so I'm making the debate of should I put on real shoes because it's probably a little muddy, whatever. The barefoot caveman goes running, is just like, watch the coffee maker, and bolts out the door to get mail.
Yes.
Ah. Ah.
There was a reason I was watching the coffee maker.
Floor. Like, I couldn't stop him, but yeah, we just mopped the floor, and he goes barefoot out through the mud. The dog at least wipes his feet.
There's a mat in front of the door on the outside. I wipe my feet when I come in if I need to.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah,
so
there's a big mound of grass on the mat right now.
So yeah, my response to being told go watch the coffee maker was, did the short bus just drop me off? Like, what the hey? I'm like, come on, man.
Maybe
like, I'm perfectly capable of getting the mail. I'm not going to go play in the road. I get that part. I'm just debating clothing options. Like, can I come back in and not have, like, mudfoot? Not that that matters, apparently. I don't know why I debated it.
There's a sidewalk that leads to gravel. There is no mud spot anywhere there unless you're going into the yard. Anyhow, I want to know what coffee pot Sharon has, because she says it's lasted her for 7 years.
That's called a normal one. That's called normal people owning coffee makers. This is how this works. This is what, like, most people can go buy the $10 special from Family Dollar and keep it for ages. But not us. Not anymore. Because the Keurig that died was closing in on 7.
Oh, poor thing.
A perfectly happy coffee maker. But yeah, we have 2 Shannons. It's so much fun. But yeah, she says I used to be like that with computers. Schools were not happy with me. No, they're not, and especially not if you were anywhere near West Virginia, because they only get new computers every 25 to 30 years.
Well, and I have that problem too. But we've alleviated that problem with the availability of wireless keyboards and wireless mouses.
Well, yes. Yeah. The wireless helps you. It just means you buy a lot of keyboards. So many keyboards.
He didn't believe me. He really did not believe me when I told him I've melted keyboards before in a long night reading.
I have no clue what he does. I have learned, however, that if we put some money into the keyboard, it tends to last longer.
Yes.
If we try to buy the cheap, like Walmart, what is that, ON or whatever they're calling it, the ONN,
yeah,
those will last you like 10 minutes.
A month.
Not even. That last one was 10 minutes.
Yeah. It died instantly. But this happens for me. Toasters, we've had to replace the toaster. So Mr. Fancy here decided he needed a immersion blender.
What about my precious? The
only thing I have to say is my comment afterwards that we're getting.
So I've just, gone out and braved the COVID wilderness to buy us a toaster and water and some other stuff we needed that we were not going to survive. He was without coffee. This was about to be a catastrophic event. So while I'm there, grabbing my toaster, so I'm already in small appliances, I happened to see the immersion blender, and so bought it, came home, and so telling him about the toaster, and the first thing that pops in his mind is, did you see a Toastmaster? And I'm sitting here going, I'm buying an immersion blender just so I can make sauces and cook when I do. And you're telling me I could buy a Toastmaster, throw 2 slabs of Sunbeam in there with some bologna and some processed cheese food slices, and you would be happy? And yeah, so he comes back with 1 yes and 2 stuffed French toast. Yeah, your doctor is going to end up breaking travel restrictions just to come down here and beat you. Like, I'm not sure he didn't grab at his keys reviewing your last set of lab work.
I'm very quite sure that he may have, debated exactly the safest route to get here to have a discussion with me and my lab work.
Yes.
Especially since we figured out what it was.
See, Shannon gets it. Need immersion blenders for soups. Also great for Alfredo sauce. So I've heard. Because I swear to God, if I stir one more Alfredo sauce, my arm's coming unscrewed. Like, that's it. It's just coming out.
Well,
it's going to be like
screwdrivers we have around here. We should be able to screw it back in.
Well, only if they got put up where we can find them.
They're in a 5-gallon bucket with all the rest of those holes.
I know, but I'll be one-armed. I can't help. Do you know how hard it is to pick up a bucket? Or, well, not a bucket. It's no longer a bucket. It's a tote. You know how hard it is to pick up a tote one-armed?
Dear, do you know how many times that tote has been moved since it walked in this house? Since I carried it into the house.
Other than to pull it out and look through it?
Not even that. I don't pull it out. I move your chair and sit down.
Oh, gosh.
I'll be there a while.
Yeah, well,
But we did get new phones also. Well, you got a new phone. Because we're one of those households that went, it's really stupid for us to go and buy like 3 new phones, 2 new cars every 4 years.
Yeah. So we've already pre-planned that it's going to be rotational.
Right.
And yeah, so the car will work, from me to him, and apparently so do phones.
Yeah. So show him your new Precious.
Yeah, so I have a Precious. It is the very mirrored finish Galaxy Note 10 Plus, because I had to go Uber. Because I can't do a baby phone. Because actually, in looking around, we talked a little bit on Tuesday about that, was that, no, tech-wise, like, there are incremental improvements over what I bought 2.5 years ago, which is how old my last phone, that's how long it lasted. And yeah, there were incremental improvements in that $250 to $350 price range, because I do unlocked cash outright. Because I will never again pay for a premium cell phone plan plus pay them an ungodly amount for a phone. Like, never going to happen, because that last one was a pain. That was an AT&T contract. Yeah, $104 a month. But I loved my Samsung Infuse. Don't get me wrong. I did love it.
No.
But I'm not paying that.
Right. Especially when you buy the phone and the phone plan you have is $25 a month.
Yeah.
So anyhow, he got a new Note. He got a new
Note 10.
Note 10. What's your review of it?
Loving it so far. It just came in Wednesday, but loving it so far. Everything loaded up, and yeah, actually wasn't my normal. Like, the last couple of phones have been a struggle. That trying to load up that much stuff all at once, it's a little bit. Because I'm an all-in-oneer. He has been a 2-phone kind of guy for a while now. With a business phone and a personal phone. I quite frankly have been that person who is like talking on the phone about the fact I can't find my phone. I have been there. The slight amount of caffeine deprivation required for me to get there, very small. So I don't need two devices to go searching for. I will end up, at some point, I'm going to end up doing this and looking for my glasses all day long.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
I will be there.
Now, so I got here, and I was I'm not a let's go spend money on a phone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Getting over 100 was a struggle.
I still haven't spent over $100 for a phone.
Yes, you did.
No.
We did.
No.
I'm pretty sure we did.
No, I paid $79 for the Blade.
Okay.
I got a $30 credit on the Blade onto our cell phone bill because I called Superman and said, "What the fuck is this shit?"
Yes. Sadly, Superman is no longer there. He has gone to other stores.
He is. And, you know, and that's something I think that we're going to see more of is more of the, you know, I can tell you who works where. I can tell you which ones that I like, which ones I don't like. Ooh, that one's new, that type of thing. I think we're going to probably see that a little bit more because people are going to start paying attention to that. But, so I got his, what is this thing, Moto?
It's a Motorola G5 Plus.
Right. It reminds me a lot of the other phone that I had, the Droid Max, in formulation and performance. And I'm really liking it. The Bluetooth on it's amazing. The only problem I had was it and the car aren't getting along. He's going to have to go and have a talk with them and let them know that, yes, I stay hands-free in the car. Get a damn clue.
Well, unfortunately, the car was trying to figure out which one of your phone graveyard was connected this time. Because that is something that got fixed while I was out. I had to go remove your dead body count.
Yes.
Because ultimately what I believe happened is that I had actually named my phone. And in factory resetting it for you, I think the car was having a moment.
Right.
Trying to figure out what's going on. I'm not 100% sure of that. I think it was an identity crisis.
Well,
that what it was expecting and what it was getting were a little different.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that's what it is. But Motorola, for me, was my first phone, which was a bag phone. That is, go Google it. I will take my bag phone back any day because still, with the bag phone, I could be in the middle of freaking Boone County or Clay County or Oceana and make a cell phone call. And in those days, that was a miracle.
That's if those towers are still active.
Yeah.
A lot of those really old original towers have been shut down.
Right. But
and that's been a few years.
Now,
because I knew someone who held on to their bag phone.
And
they did, and it was talk about Luddite tech. You know, when you're rocking, like, I think it was like, oh God, like 2008, 2009, maybe somewhere in there, 2007 at the latest, I believe, that they were still rocking their bag phone, and their provider was like, you got to get rid of that. Like, we will give you whatever you want. But we can't do it anymore. Like, you are literally one of the handful of customers that is keeping us from turning that off.
Right. And I can understand that because this is West Virginia. Bag phones kicked ass.
Yeah.
The old flip phone. Now, I'm not talking about the new flippy phones. I'm talking about 1998 era flip phones that really weren't flip
phones.
Motorola StarTAC.
Yes, that was my first phone.
Well, I had two of them. They were called Clamshell. Yes, I loved them. They done wonderful. And I really hadn't been happy till I got the Droid. And I loved my Droid. It was awesome. I would have bought another one except Verizon was being a dick. And that's when I said goodbye to contracts and went over to Cricket. So I'm hoping this one does well.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at me not having to have two phones because of the storage capacity on it alone.
He can install more than 4 apps.
More than 6, okay?
That was the level of phone he has been at.
Yeah.
He was maxing out at like 6 applications.
Right.
Like, that's it. Everything the phone can handle.
Well, again, I don't run a lot of stuff on my phone because my phones have always been phones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was very much non-photo. I mean, you've had to get me into Bluetooth.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like getting him off a corded headset was a nightmare. Let me just tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but again, I can kind of understand because, and again, we've talked about it before. I went through that period of, I didn't get texting. I was the weirdo back on 10 key that was, standard phone going, this is the dumbest waste of time. I can call people faster.
Mm-hmm.
I am like 3 text messages a month and I'm about ready to lose my mind. Texting is stupid. It'll be a fad. No one will ever keep this up. This will not be a thing. Love my AOL Instant Messenger, lived on it. Made the case at work for this being a valid work application because I can get so much done that I got to keep it on my work computer at a couple of places. But no, I could not understand text messaging. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. And then I got a Palm Treo with the little keyboard, and I was like, texting is amazing.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like that I could handle. Like, give me a full keyboard. Give me something. I'm not sitting here playing, Easter egg hunt for words. And I don't care who you are. If you've not heard of T9, it was a thing. We'll explain it one day. But predictive text? T9 predictive text? What the hell was that?
I never had a problem with it.
No, that never worked for me.
Oh, I was super, 2221, 2221, 2221
in a month. It never learned. Like,
right.
It never got an opportunity to figure out what I was trying to say. It was just, I type 2 letters and it's like pedantic. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to type pedantic.
But no, predictive texting was easy, and I got used to it very quickly. I never had that problem. Granted, I was also an ICR chatter and was way used to using special characters before they were a thing.
Well, yeah, ICQ, Once Upon a Time, loved it. Original, loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure my ID is out there somewhere if that service is even still running.
Right. I mean, heck, this show could have probably been done over Pal Talk during the day.
Once upon a time.
Yes. And I've made this comment that, a large part of the start of my internet career was Yahoo private chat room.
Oh, yeah. Now, see, I never really loved Yahoo chat. I had it. Don't get me wrong, I had it. But yeah, like the early Yahoo chat, ew.
Oh, please. We got a lot in there. As soon as they added voice chat, it was kick ass.
No, still hated it. Yeah. Like the voice and the video and all. Like, I just hated the look of it. It was too much like a kid's game.
It's great.
There was no way I could ever have convinced anyone that was a legitimate work app. Like, now AOL Instant Messenger, you can sell that. Back in the day, if you're watching this from the future or you're trying to get to the past and be successful, don't try to argue Yahoo, argue AOL.
Right.
You'll win. Granted, it'll crash and burn, but that's a different story.
Well, and oh God, what was that? I had a program that used to run them all.
Oh God, yes. Well, we all went through that. And I think that program still exists. Trillium.
Yes, loved
Yeah.
it. Loved it.
Now that I could tolerate, because see, I only ended up having like Yahoo. Well, like now early days, early days, not Yahoo Messenger, but Yahoo Groups.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I was a fan of.
Yeah.
Yahoo Messenger, you lost me.
Well, Yahoo Groups, I still own a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but no. Yahoo Groups, I was totally on board with. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah, Trillium helped because I ended up only keeping some of the messengers just because you had that one weirdo friend.
Right.
That just was like, I don't have an AOL. And it's like, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? I have Yahoo. Oh God, Sparkles Kitty Glitter 2987. What the?
Sparkles Kitty Glitter 2987. Come on.
Well, I'm just making fun of the fact the horrible screen names we got to choose at different points.
Oh,
like, come on!
I've had some kick ones. I have ones that I now use and still use.
Oh God!
Yeah. But these are things that build us. These are things that change the way we work. I remember when I used to be able to, and I still can, if I find that tone in my loud alarms, you were going to hear it again. I remember the tone of my pager. It can wake me out of a dead sleep.
Mm-hmm.
An old telephone can wake me out of a dead sleep. Because
Moody Butterflies doesn't seem to work.
No, that doesn't even faze me.
Well, and that's kind of a difference is I had to choose ringtones that would quit freaking me out.
Right.
Just because I realized at one point that the sounds my phone were making were massively increasing my anxiety because they were very angry sounds. They were very attention grabbing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that I was basically just all day long hearing that sound and getting more and more tense as the day went on.
Mm-hmm.
And especially get into a conversation with someone who is very prolific.
Mm-hmm.
Sending message. I have a couple of friends who are notorious. That they send 3 words and next, 3 words next, 3 words next. So yeah. I had to find happy sounds right. That were I may miss a few messages and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you can miss as many messages as you want as long as you learn to answer a yelling, screaming match. Yeah, but my phone, I need to figure out how I can set profiles on it. Okay. Because I need like a work profile that are, the sounds are kind of quiet and relaxed, and then a home profile where it's like, hey, you got to call, you monkey.
And for the 5 times a year, your personal rings.
Well, if we go and combine them into one.
Oh, except we can't. You'll lose the number. No SIM card.
Well, I understand that.
Okay.
There's like 3 people that have my personal phone number.
Okay. Just saying.
I know.
Just saying.
Literally. And that's... 3 people have my personal phone number.
Meanwhile, if I go to dial you, I just dial everything.
Yeah, and it rings everywhere.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't mean that. I mean, I try one. If that doesn't work, I try the next one. And if that doesn't work, I try the third one. Usually the business is where I end up.
Yeah.
Like, someone answer the phone.
Unless it's every other Friday.
normally the point in which I get to calling the business line is because your actual direct number for your business phone went straight to voicemail, which means your phone's dead.
Uh-huh.
Your personal phone either went straight to voicemail or it rang to voicemail, which means it's either dead or lost, because half the time you can't find it.
Right.
And then I'm just calling the business number going, someone hand him a phone. Please hand him a phone. Like, will you please hand the boy a phone?
Mm-hmm. But that happens. Either that or I'm on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like call waiting. I have yet to enjoy call waiting. I don't see a reason for it.
I'm okay with call waiting, but I reserve the right after a minute to hang up and you can call me back.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. You can call, you can leave a message and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
All right.
Yeah. And yes. But no, and yes, for Patreon, I do want to make a quick note that we have not gotten the newsletter out. We are still working on that. Sorry that is delayed.
Yeah.
The first one has taken me a little bit, and yeah, we're doing it in the middle of everything else.
Right, and you know the newsletter we're designing it. It'll be out. The wallpaper will be out later this month. This is the first month that it'll be going out. It should be out by the 27th. That's going to be our goal, is to get everything out for the next month. And then I think next week we need to just do an open Q&A on Bear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But, you know, we're looking, and I want to state this very clearly. Please don't go and do these stupid picketings. Like, I have lost my temper on this one. Yeah. 6 foot away.
Well, yeah, and that was the biggest thing being pointed out, is people weren't even, like, and I kind of get that, is if you think that the restrictions are you know, meaningless, then of course you don't honor the restrictions when you go to protest them. But it's like,
right.
Lemmings off a cliff, dude.
Yeah.
Really? But yeah. No, yeah. There's been a lot in this that I do have to just kind of sit and go, what? Really? Right. Like, empty collection plates, so, you know, of course your pastor wants to make you come to church. That's wonderful. That's brilliant. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Betty Bowers, America's Best Christian, has a lovely video about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go ahead and throw that out in Mountain Bears because it's worth it.
It is.
Because it absolutely says everything on that one. But yeah, so I borrowed a line. You'll find that out. But no, it's just been crazy.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the Republic, you know, when we hit this again, because we will, you know, they released a lovely little plan on how to reopen America. No, we're still too early to reopen.
Well, and then in addition to that, I believe one of the news reports, and I'll go try to dig that one back out. That was one I was passing through kind of quickly. Is it looked like there were some people that have already been infected that are becoming reinfected.
Yep.
So there is a possibility that, you know, this is going to be a quick turnaround. Is that we're going to end up needing a vaccination. And I don't know what that's going to look like in order to get out of this.
Right. Well, we're already in clinical trials of 2. One is a nose one, another one's an injectable. Both have been DNA sequenced to match the virus and be its antivirus. So that's almost like easy. I mean, we're not dealing with science, you know, 1950 science or 1920 science. We're dealing with 2020 science. But it's being held up by stupid regulations. Like, it has to pass 1 million clinical trials before it can be offered to the public.
Well, and again, those are conditions under normal circumstances, and those should be things that we will see the FDA quickly move past.
Right.
Because this isn't normal.
No.
That we're not talking about a usual drug test. This also means there's a chance this first round's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
Like, point blank, it may not be pretty.
Mm-hmm.
That there can be, the reason the testing is there is to prove efficacy, is to prove what the side effects are, to prove what the long term is.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, a lot of what we're looking at is that may not be the luxury.
No.
Like, that's what you want, in general situations. Like, if you're talking about Pfizer creating, a boner pill, then you want everything to go through FDA regulations, and go through rigorous testing so that, your boner pill doesn't, randomly kill a lot of people for, totally preventable things or things that are completely ridiculous.
Well, and if anybody remembers, grandparents and great-grandparents, the polio shots, there were many people that had scars from their polio shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't because of the needle that was used or anything like that. That was just what happened in healing up the shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of looking at that. I'm looking at a lot of the gay culture and how they're responding to this. We're seeing drag queens putting on performances in their living room. Guess what? They've been doing that for years.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're just showing them finally. Concerts and music festivals and festivals in general, probably not much for about a year and a half.
Yeah. Well, as for, as in live attendance.
Right.
Because there are still options there.
Yeah.
That we do not necessarily have to physically be present.
Mm-hmm.
We have technology that is amazing.
Yeah.
That will allow for a lot of things to be possible.
Mm-hmm.
And providing a live concert, not something that TV studios have never done before.
Right.
It would just be done without, a live audience.
Well, honey, they have tracks from the 40s.
Yeah. Again, that's what I'm saying. It's not new.
Right. It isn't new. In other news,
Mm-hmm.
I attempted to watch The Tiger King. So ever.
Oh gosh. Yeah, you were struggling on that one.
20 minutes of the show. Sorry, guys. All y'all going and talking about how wonderful The Tiger King is. No, it isn't.
Yeah, that's got to be like A1 and your signs of you've lost it. And you're locked down. But yes.
No, that is A1. The American culture are desperate to get LSD out to Hollywood so we can get some damn good TV back online.
Oh my God. No, I think that's what you create when you're on LSD.
Oh, I don't even think so. I think that was terrible.
But no, like I can understand and appreciate the role that like trash television and trash movies fill. Mm-hmm. Like, train wrecks are nice from the outside perspective, and I mean that figuratively, not literal train wrecks. But people who are horribly dysfunctional, can be interesting as entertainment.
Mhm.
It's exploitative, and that's a whole nother story. But even Tiger King, like just the previews, I'm sitting here going, how is this number one? How did that hit number one? Like
Mhm.
that's not just a little trashy. That's not like, okay, that's pretty bad trashy. Like this is just crazy.
Right. Well, and I've watched, I used to be a large fan of Jerry Springer in the 90s when they had real shows, not these stage fight shit.
Mhm.
I used to enjoy, you know, WWE. I'm used to garbage TV. When we had cable, I actually watched a good bit of garbage TV because that's what they play late at night.
Oh,
This was beyond that. Now, Sharon says she don't feel bad. She couldn't stand 5 minutes. I made it 20, and that is like pushing it. Of like,
oh,
yeah, I need to watch this in case, so we can talk about it, to make
no, yeah,
research.
you don't.
No, it's terrible. Um, I think that there should be a true crimes version of Tiger King that shows, how he, tried to hire a hitman.
Well, and that will probably be a thing.
Well, that's probably already is a thing. I'm sure ID has got it out there. It just isn't available for public viewing yet.
Yeah, really.
Now, one show that I did end up watching because Peter Mon recommended it was Trixie Mattel's Moving Parts. It's a documentary.
Which he had to explain to me because apparently I was thinking Trisha Paytas.
Yeah.
And all I could keep saying was, oh, the one that got canceled, but Shane brought her back.
No.
And he's like, who?
Yeah, I'm like,
which
who?
I think maybe says everything about Trisha Paytas. Who?
But, Trixie Mattel's Moving Parts. That is a great documentary. It shows her year journey as a drag performer and a folk artist singer and a TV producer and a TV show producer. And a lot of the, pack and move and the things that we have to deal with in culture.
Hmm?
And then there's this really interesting one of her mother finally seeing her, his mother finally seeing her on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And how stressed that relationship is. And how performers, when they make money, at the same time end up, taking care of other things. Like, one of the scenes is him paying his mother's electric bill of $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
Different things like that. And I really could identify with it. I was like, this is our life during the summer.
Well, in many ways, it can be. Though it's looking like this summer, that might not be the thing.
Yeah.
But no, and I don't know. The moving part, yes, or being constantly on the road, back and forth, back and forth. Where are we this day? Having to keep the schedule tight and keep a close eye on it so we don't screw up. Yeah, that's a very big part of it. But at the same time, I think we're finding more and more people are ending up even beyond that and becoming more nomadic. The tech nomads,
right?
In which they are not tied to any one location. Though, granted, that has less to do about being in motion to make money, as making money while in motion.
Right.
And I would almost be interested to see what that does differentially. Mm-hmm. Like, is it basically the same thing, just the words are rearranged, or does it change your approach?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does it change your experience? That if you're going into this, the ability to travel while also making money,
right,
instead of traveling to make money.
Right. Well, Technomandia is actually a YouTube channel that I've followed for a very long time.
Mhm.
And I really like they have a van, they have an RV, and then they have a boat.
And that's a lot.
Well, they started out in a camper van,
Right.
two campers, and then moved into their 1963 RV.
Hmm.
That's gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous, totally techie, neat. They made a career out of testing mobile technology and writing, how to be, techie on the road. I use them for a
Hmm.
lot of resources for us for when we're on the road.
Yeah.
Um,
Leading to some very wild conversations.
yeah,
In terms of mentioning stuff, and I'm going, what are you talking about?
right.
And then realizing that, oh, okay, he's been watching the channel again. You know, because all of a sudden it's like some weird random bit of technology that's mobile. It's always mobile.
Yeah.
Pops up, and I'm like, what are you? Why do we? No, honey.
Yes, I'd
Stop.
love to have a jetpack.
I think you would love to have the Kia Soul converted into an entire mobile office, and it ain't happening. Like, I can see a little mobile printer in one corner and a little mobile desktop, and suddenly I have to have like a Hemi V8 put in to run the damn um, uh, alternator to run the AC inverter.
Well, one, we don't need an AC inverter because it already has AC inverters. Two, you bought me a laptop that has a C charger,
USB-C.
USB-C charger. We already have that cable. Three,
And
I now have a super phone.
actually, no, I didn't. That is not a charging port. Of all the weirdo things Acer has ever pulled, it is USB-C, and most commonly, most laptops with that can be charged through it.
Mm-hmm.
This one cannot. The motherboard does not support it. Does not support USB-C charging.
All right, add that to the list for when we have to buy new ones.
By the time we get to a new one, I'm sure it will not even be a consideration.
Well,
it'll probably be the only way it charges.
That'll be what'll be awesome is if it's wireless charging when you just lay it down and it starts charging, which I think is incredible. But my one laptop lasts 8 hours, another one lasts 8 hours. My cell phone will last 8.5 hours. No, it'll last 2 days.
Yeah.
We can go Technomadia and be on the road, and I can work. I just got to give up my front seat.
Yes, you do.
Because the screen deflects and distracts you.
Yes. Like it really bothers me. Like between the sunlight hitting it, because you're the most animated texter I've ever seen. Like most people are like texting. I am texting. You are all over the place. It is like sword fighting with Betty Davis. With the sun just God stop. And then at night, it's the opposite. It's not the reflection of the screen, it is the screen. Now I don't know if that'll change with the new phone. That might have gotten better. But your other phone, its idea of dim was like staring into 100-watt light bulb.
Yeah. And I've noticed
fun while you're driving and there's this weird light that keeps looking like it's a car coming at you from the side.
Down the interstate that only vehicles travel the same direction.
Hey, things happen.
Yeah, cars magically appear by the side of a mountain.
Yes, exactly. It happens.
I know.
I don't know. That deer jumped out of nowhere.
Keep it up, deer, and we'll be filing an insurance claim. I'm just saying, you keep taunting that poor deer.
See that coming.
Really?
What? I had to go there.
And I remind you of the flat tire and my worry of deers to begin with. Why do you always turn on the fog lights on the Kia? We don't need the fog lights on. Yeah, we do.
That you turn them on. I don't mind that you turn them on. I mind that you leave them on. Like, currently, I've just had to get comfortable with the fact my fog lights will never turn off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure if I turn them off one more time, he's just going to super glue them on. Because it messes with him when he gets in the car. And he's driving down the road like, oh my God, I think all the headlights are out. You're trying to see 4 inches in front of the bumper.
Yes.
Lord.
Yeah. And fun of me for a year and a half about checking my tires when I got over a mountain.
Because you kept whining every time and pulling over.
Yes.
And then, yes, that was the exact spot where your tire went flat. But still, it was getting really annoying when it's like, I'm 20 minutes out. And it's like an hour later, and you're still 20 minutes out because you had to stop because you panicked. I swear.
Yeah. Oh, but, you know, those days will come. For now, Asen has just got the yard mode, working from home, enjoying working from home, really like this lifestyle. We do our first click order tomorrow.
Yeah, we pick up our first click.
Yep. You can give a review on that experience.
Well, I don't know that we should fault anyone right now and try to review them at this point. Like, this is the worst of worst case scenarios. I mean, it took us a week just to get an appointment slot.
Right.
I mean, that in and of itself says the poor click people are working their rear ends off. There's no other meaning for that. They are struggling.
Right. So we'll see how they do. But definitely we'll talk about that on Tuesday. We've made the conscious decision not to do Walmart. Like, Amazon will be taking over our Walmart. And if the Amazon Fresh gets here, oh baby, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But no, this may end up being like a proliferation of Amazon stores.
Yeah.
Like, that may end up being the best model.
Right.
Because those are stores that are literally no human contact. In terms of, as a customer, you can go in, get everything you need, and get out. And if no other customer is in the store, then you effectively have no human contact. Now, that doesn't mean humans don't have contact with stuff. And so you do have to still be careful, but
right.
Yeah.
So what do you got planned for the newsletter?
Oh, wow. Right now, I did want to get into some, basically what I'm looking at for the newsletter is setting it up as kind of like a preview of different topics and stuff that we will cover in show. So that we can, basically we wanted to make it exclusive. And effectively it's different articles that would be going up through the coming month to the website.
Right.
So effectively I'm writing a whole bunch of articles and getting those ready to go in there, and then I'll get with you and see what content you want to add. And yeah. So
next Friday night, we are going to be doing the 21 questions to test how well you really know your partner. This was put out by Psychology Today. If anyone wants to go preview those.
I'm pretty sure after this month in quarantine, people know their partners far too well.
Oh, you know it.
Well, there's been a whole phenomenon of like people posting about like, they're working at home with their partner and
Mhm.
hearing them say things that they're like, oh my God, I am married to that guy. I am married to circle back guy. I
Uh-huh.
am married to, and I love it. I love it. Like the disgust people are having that I cannot believe I just heard this come out of my partner's mouth. That oh my God, they are corporate jargon man.
Mhm.
Or like the total like personality difference.
Right.
That some people end up being very conversational
Mhm.
in work environments and then barely say two words to their spouse, not because they hate them presumably, but like that's it. They
Mhm.
understand to work, to be part of a corporate environment, you have to make small talk. But then once they're done, they're kind of yes, no, maybes.
Right. But no, I like this one from Psychology Today, and we will
Mm-hmm.
definitely be using that. And that'll be next Friday's show.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Um, and then
Uh,
on Tuesday, I don't know what we're talking about yet. It may be talking about the planetary gate and how that energy is going to affect us. Who knows what we'll get into, because we never know exactly what we're brewing up here. We have some general ideas of what we're going to brew up, but thank you guys
sometimes
for
we
watching.
just get waylaid.
Yep.
Like sometimes the news hits and we're like, oh, that's going in the show. Like forget everything else.
Right.
Like that's the show right there.
Yep. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see you next Tuesday. If my schedule allows, on Monday, I'm going to try to come and have coffee with you guys and, just chitter chat and hang out. And Sharon suggested to go watch
Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Ooh,
I think you could get into that.
probably. That would be
Like,
interesting.
yeah. Like
Yep.
you can watch Dirk Gently
Uh-huh.
while I go find me some Philip K. Dick.
I like Philip K. Dick.
I can't get you to watch. Well, I can't get you to watch anything, but I'm surprised I can't even entice you. Like,
Well,
I'm sorry. To me, dangling Philip K. Dick based series in front of me, even if I've already seen it, it is like the stripper in front of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like old 70s car ad. Like I'm there. I'm oh yeah, I'm there. Because it's a Philip K. Dick based series. How bad could it be?
Right.
It's never bad. I don't know, like granted, then again, I think the same thing about Stephen King series, but then Stephen King keeps killing all his series because he hates their TV adaptations.
Right. But, and this is the thing with this, and you're the one who set this up.
Oh, God.
And it's what happens every time we sit down to watch a series.
Okay.
We sit down, I have time for one show. I watch one show with you.
But then you next make yourself available in 6 months. I can't do it.
Again next week. By the time I get ready to watch next week's show, you've done watched the whole series and have no interest in watching it again.
Yes, I do. It took me like 2 years to get you through season 1 of American Horror Story.
And I've already watched half of American Horror Story.
Well, you didn't explain.
I've already watched The Coven. I've already watched Freak Show.
You watched it out of order, though.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing. I know they're independent series. I get that. Don't hate mail me. I know that. But I think that honestly the progression over time I like better. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so I gotta go watch Dirk Gently. She has brought Douglas Adams in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, now I get it. Sorry, got it now.
Yep.
I've been on a Philip K. Dick kick. Like, I'm reading Man in the High Castle. I'm still working on it. It's going to take me a while. I know that we've just been busy. But yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched Man in the High Castle, or High Castle, I think is what it's called TV wise. But yeah, no, all right. You had me at Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
See, I need authors. Like, give me an author. Like, give me an author. You can entice me with authors.
Yeah. But you know, that's the whole thing with me and TV is I have very short attention span. We tried watching like 2 movies, and at the same time, I get up and start doing stuff, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "The dishes." But we're watching a show, and I can see the TV from the kitchen.
Bugs me.
Yeah, I can't just chill. Sorry, you get 45 minutes.
It bugs me because I am one of those people that if I get up and start trying to do stuff while watching something, there comes a point that my brain just tunes it out.
Yep.
It is now.
My brain doesn't do that. My brain sits there, watches it, enjoys it, does the dishes, works on the caxas, and still can tell you everything going on into the show.
Okay. Still.
Yep. No, I know. But guys, we will see you next Tuesday, possibly next Monday for me. Check out the website. We do have a new article up about how well you should not be doing these stupid quizzes on, you know, how much information you're actually handing people.
Yeah.
In your quarantine quiz of who you would be in the mental institution with.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't spend your quarantine helping for identity fraud against you.
Yep.
That's the deal.
Yep. So go check out that article.
Oh, see, I'm not a multitasker. He's a multitasker. I don't multitask. I unitask. I can either do one thing well or I can fuck up a lot all at once.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 modes of being.
Right. And also, remember to fill out your U.S. Census. Please fill out your census form. It takes, 5 minutes online?
Yes. Don't be intimidated by the paper version. If you've gotten that in the mail, the paper version is meant for, like, the Duggars. Granted, they'll need, like, 3 of them because it only covers up to 7 humans. You don't actually have to answer the whole booklet if you don't have a household of that many people. It's really, really quick and easy, especially if you do it online. The hardest question you will face is regarding nationalities.
Right.
So what you're, if you want to make sure to knock it out in 5 minutes or less, make sure you've gone ahead and asked everyone what their national origin is.
Right.
If they know it, otherwise, I guess get creative. Like that was my only caveat to the census.
We didn't have mine.
Well, like, and it's an open box field.
Yeah.
But it's looking for things like Scottish or Irish and it's like, that is such a weird, like, I know it's always been there, but like when you actually have to go to answer it, that's the weird one.
Right.
So, and especially if you're doing it for your household, go ahead and ask everyone that one before you sit down. That is your hard question. Everything else, pretty easy.
Yep. And if you're a West Virginian, you will receive your voter's request in the mail to file absentee. Do so. Protect your poll work.
That's for the primary.
And that's for the primary.
That's for the primary. You can do the absentee for the primary and then show up in person if we are to that point, or you can absentee for November.
Yep.
As a separate process. So don't feel like you're locking yourself in.
Right. But please remember to get ready to vote, figure out who your candidates are, and, you know, as I'm saying, vote blue. Right? Yeah, vote blue.
Yeah. Blue no matter who.
Yes, blue no
Get
matter.
the red scourge out of there.
Right.
Like, I am getting Macbeth level of annoyance with this red blot in the stain of humanity.
Mm-hmm. Who will go down in history as the worst president ever, replacing Taft.
There you go.
All right. Y'all guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Absolutely. Good night.